Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Okay, Teresa, today we're just going to talk about finding somehow any good when there's a negative. So I wanted to share something that I read.
Okay.
Now, this is from a book that someone gave me. Life is a Joke by the Jabna brothers. Have you heard of them?
I have not, but you told me about the book when you got it.
I did?
You did.
Oh, okay. Well, listen at this. The title of this one is called Dead Weight. And it starts, we are all faced with a series of great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as impossible situations, by Charles Swindoll. A young man from the big city moved to the country and bought a donkey from a local farmer for $200.
Mm-hmm.
The farmer took the money and said he'd deliver the donkey the next day. The next afternoon, the farmer arrived at the man's house with an empty truck. "Sorry, mister, I have some bad news," the farmer said. "The donkey died." "Well," said the man, "so just give me back my $200. "Sorry, mister," the farmer replied. "I can't give it back. I already spent it." The man thought for a moment and said, "Okay then, give me the dead donkey." "What are you going to do with it?" the farmer asked. "I'm going to raffle her off," said the man. "You can't raffle off a dead donkey," exclaimed the farmer. "Sure I can," the man calmly replied. "I just won't tell anyone she's dead." A few weeks later, the farmer happened to run into the young man and asked what happened with the dead donkey. "I raffled her off," he told the farmer. "I sold 300 tickets at $2.50 apiece and made a profit of $547.50. Stunned, the farmer said, "Wow, didn't anyone complain?" "Just the guy who won," said the man. "So I gave him back his $250."
Oh, man, that's funny.
So the life lesson is, of course, what the guy in the joke did is unethical and probably illegal.
Yeah.
But you can't help but be impressed by his ability to turn lemons into lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
That is, turn a bad situation into a fruitful opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Faced with a tough situation, we all have a tendency to say, "That's it, I'm screwed." But as the guy demonstrated, there's an alternative. Instead of quitting, take a moment to let panic subside and give yourself a chance to adjust to the new circumstances. So, in light of what we're dealing with, all of us are dealing with now, with this pandemic and the coronavirus, we don't want to beat a dead horse to death because we've talked about that for our last two podcasts. But when I read that, I just thought, is there anything, any positive that I can find in my life out of this, with all of this, the disruption and changes to the routine and the nervousness and anxiety and being bombarded with the news constantly, fearful for yourself, for loved ones, for people you interact with? Is there anything positive out of all of this? And so I wanted you to think about that for a minute. But if there's anything positive that I can find, this has certainly, just as Kobe's death did, made me think about how precious life is. And it is so unfortunate that it takes something like a death or the possibility of sickness or death to make us realize how blessed we are every day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And to just think about, okay, I have got to make that more present in my day-to-day living,
Mm-hmm.
versus only getting in tune with that when some catastrophe happens.
I agree with you on that one. I do. What this whole thing has done for me is that it's made me more like aware and focused on making sure my family's okay.
Right.
So,
right.
And the ability to communicate with them.
Right.
Because we have distance between us. So, my mom and technology, we've talked about how our family members are not able to use technology, but just making sure that she's keeping her tablet charged so
Yeah.
that if and making sure that it doesn't change how it works. She
Right.
just got to remember how to use it.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm talking to her more and more like, Mom, let's see each other. Let's practice this, because if we
So
get in a situation,
that's a positive in
right,
this
it
because
is
this is now forcing her to use technology.
forcing her, because I want, if something happens to her, I can't be by her side.
Right.
But if she's able to speak to me, I want to at least be able to see her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying. That's why I'm pushing her
Right.
to understand it, be comfortable with it. So if you do, God forbid,
Yeah.
you get sick. But if
Yeah.
I how else will I be able to communicate with
Well,
her, right?
See, right, right.
And so I've just been that this week. I've done that.
Yeah.
The other thing, the other positive I think is everybody that I'm talking to, I'm like telling them. I mean, this guy had a bag of Snickers on his desk. I'm like, dude, really, that is too much sugar right now. You need to be working on your immune system, and that's fighting against it. And he looked at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, because he doesn't know that side of me.
Yeah.
And it was kind of an instinct. I didn't even think twice about it, and I was like, that's not a good thing. And I
Right.
caught myself, and then I kind of backed off.
But see,
but-
that's
but-
interesting
yeah.
you say that because that's what that's a positive for me. I never eat like greens and, like for breakfast. But it's like, okay, now I'll take those greens as my side now because I want to make sure that I'm eating things that fuel my body, that help me during this time with everything that's going on. So I'm very aware of making sure that I get my nutrition, you know. Yeah. And
Yeah.
before I probably would be like the guy with the Snickers bar. But now it's like, nah, I don't want that. I'm trying to make sure I'm putting the right stuff in.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's important. I was having a conversation with a lady yesterday, and she just reminded me it's important for us to eat those nutrients before taking the supplements.
Right.
But supplements are good if you're not getting them, but the best way to make sure you get the nutrients is to eat them.
Right. Right.
So,
yeah.
But and hopefully through this, those will become habits.
Well, exactly. And, we've read about, and we already know about how important it is to stay hydrated and the rest, but I am going to bed. Well, the other reason I'm going to bed is because I'm tired of hearing all the bad stuff, the news. I'm overwhelmed with that. So it's like, you know what? I'm trying to get my rest right now. And, trying to just be more sensitive that we're all going through this. So even though we're trying to keep the appropriate distance and being mindful that we're not exposing people, to any additional germs or whatever, we're trying to keep the distance and be concerned about that. I'm still checking in with family more. And just making sure, you're doing okay. And we're wanting to let you know we're fine.
Yeah.
And because of this, I'm not self-quarantining at this point, but still being mindful that I'm not going out as much.
Yeah.
I'm not doing my normal routine. So as a result of that, I do have time to sit down and think about things and handle some things that maybe I haven't made a priority that I should have.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Same with sleep. I'm aware that I need to get more rest.
Right.
So instead of looking at and working on something another 5 minutes, it's like, no, it's 10 o'clock. You need to go to bed. You got to be up at 5. Right. Go to bed. So yeah.
So, and today's broadcast is just about your positives may not be ours, but just take a minute to think about, all of this is swirling around us, but what can you do individually to somehow find the positive in this, not only for yourself, but for those you come in contact with, that you support? Is there anything that we can do that will make this an easier time for all of us? Yeah. That's the goal.
But Lou, listen to this. One positive related to the virus that I've celebrated today was hearing that there was a gentleman, an 89-year-old gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
that survived in Washington.
What?
He was in the nursing home.
What?
Yes.
89?
Yes. He has survived.
Wow.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
that is a positive.
That is a big
That
positive
is
because
such
I was praying
good
for
news.
them.
Yeah.
I thought they were all going to die.
Oh wow, and he survived.
He survived. So
See?
hopefully there'll be more celebrations
Absolutely.
coming out of that
Absolutely.
situation.
So that is definitely a positive, and we celebrate that.
Yeah.
Because here at Earrings Off,
when we know better, we do better.
have a good day.